Good evening. Welcome to our show this evening. My name is Mark Dyer. Work here for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. I'm a natural resource program technician. I work for the ARE program, which is Aquatic Resource Education. Tonight, I have Lori Monday with me. Lori, tell you a little bit about what she does.
Yep. Hi, everyone. I'm really excited to be here, so thank you. I work for Arkansas Game and Fish Commission as well as a regional educator, and so I get the pleasure of traveling central Arkansas, 7 counties, kind of being an outreach teacher's resource and getting the chance to work with all of our different programs.
Cool. That's great. That's good. I don't think I've ever really heard your job description before. All right. Well, tonight we're here. We're going to talk about fishing with family. And, the main thing I think about when I think about fishing with family is the kids are involved. Now, that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes you might be getting those seniors out, or maybe you got some kind of a civic group and you're taking a group of kids there. It's not so much family, but we're going to try and talk about the challenges that come along with fishing with little kids or even teenagers.
Yeah, I was going to say, not even like, I think my grandparents, a whole big family,
Sure.
But then I also think like colleges or just different groups, or maybe even just a small group of friends, So.
Right. I mean, because, whatever the dynamic is of your group, fishing in numbers versus fishing by yourselves always puts a little different challenge or a little kink in it.
A little danger.
Yeah, I mean, So, all right. The first time I took my kids fishing, I had this grand plan. Oh, we're going to take them out on the boat. We're going to do whatever. We're at Village Creek State Park. I took them out.
The first time?
The first time. First time I took them on a boat. It was not the best decision I've made, but I learned a lot. That's the whole thing about it. We went out. I'm kind of very particular about what goes on the boat. Their mom is, I always call her affectionately a control enthusiast. So they were stricken nearly blind within about 30 minutes of fishing, and we kind of ruined that initial first morning of fishing with us. But we got it together, and we got on the bank and fished later that afternoon, caught a few fish, and made some good stuff happen. So we learned a lot.
I kind of wish I could say that my first experience ended that well, but my first experience, I was stoked about fishing. I brought all 3 of my kids out, probably 6, 7, and 8, mid-August, no chairs. And then I'm like, we're catching fish,
Yeah.
And so they were miserable. Actually, the whole experience was miserable. And that's kind of why we're here today, is to talk about ways of having a really positive fishing experience. It doesn't take the entire day or a ton of resources, but just having that positive experience and then kind of ending on a high note.
Right. I mean, that's what we want them to come back. Not all fishing trips are going to be grand. We as adults know that.
Mm-hmm.
When you start taking the little kids out, sometimes maybe you need a little something else to make the trip go out without a hitch. So one of the things we're going to do tonight, I figure, since this is a kind of a beginning fishing for families, we're going to go over some very, very basic stuff here, and we're going to talk about all the resources that Game and Fish has available to you on like how to navigate our website, how to find the different things of maybe species specific things on our virtual nature center, or and a lot of how-to things, and also the different ways you can find different areas to fish and things like that to make things as easy as possible for new families.
And it sounds like a lot, but we're really bringing these kind of beginner skills and handing them to you and showing you how to use them so you can just get out there and fish. So just some of those resources that we have available here at Game and Fish, and there's a bunch of them. So maybe just how to locate those. On that note, we do have our regulations. So it's a good idea to, anytime you go hunting or fishing, you pick up the current regulations. The ones I have here are is the trout guide. But you can access the regulations. We have a really wonderful AGFC app that you can download on your phone, and you could just pull those regulations up. You check the climate, temperature. It's actually, now that I think of it, really great for fishing. But then you can also purchase your license on there. So remember, if you're 16 years or older, you will have to purchase your fishing license. And then if you are catching trout, you'll need your
trout permit, your trout stamp, depending on who you talk to. I think it's worded differently. I always call it a trout stamp. I think it's a resident trout permit. So, but those are the things you got to have for your group in there.
Yeah. So that goes
there's
with your
different licenses, guys. If you got one of your seniors out, they might be able to get a lifetime license just real quick. So just look through those because there's lots of good options depending on what type of time you spend in the outdoors. So we've talked about we talked about making sure everything's above board and ready to go.
So I need some skills.
So yeah, I mean, for beginners, we want to take you guys and show you through our virtual nature center that we can help you from getting outfitted with your tackle to teaching you how to rig your poles to tying a good knot for fishing and all the way through to cleaning and even cooking your catch.
But here's the thing that's really great about the Nature Center is it's not all at once, right? So you can access these videos.
We've got short little videos.
What skills we need.
We've got the short little videos, and we're going to run through a series of them right now just for time's sake. We'd love to take the time and comment on each and every one of them. But right now, just to kind of show you what's out there, Miss Tara is going to take us onto the website. She's going to screen share with us and take us onto the website and show you a few of these videos. We're just going to kind of cover bluegill / brim fishing right now. And that way you can see how the series kind of takes you through.
Exciting. Are we sharing?
A worm to catch catfish or bass with a hook of this size, or a smaller hook for crappie or brim. After you tie your hook on, you'll move up the line about 8 to 12 inches and using your pliers, clamp down some split shot. This helps weigh down the hook. Today, we're using a bobber, and this bobber helps you adjust the depth that you're fishing. To put the worm on the hook, hold the hook at the eye, and then I'm going to use this plastic worm, but it works just the same for a live worm. You'll start at the head and just work that worm up the hook. If your hook comes out, no problem. Just put it back in, start working it up. You don't want to leave any worm left dangling because then a fish might strip your hook. Push it all the way up. Now you're ready to go fishing. Today we're going to talk about 2 commonly used knots by beginning fishermen. I brought along these props so that you can see the detail and know how to tie these knots properly. This is the fisherman's knot. You start by running your line through the eye of the hook. You then wrap your line around the main line 5 times. You don't want to twist your hook, cause unnecessary stress on your knot. You then run your tag line through the hole created and then back through this second hole. You wet your line. And cinch it down. This is the polymer knot. You begin by running your line through the eye of the hook. Give yourself plenty of length so that you can run the line back through, creating a loop. Now, you'll take these 2 ends, wrap them, and tie them. Taking your loop, run it over the end of your hook. Then you'll slide it all down. Now your fishing line will slide a lot better than this rope. let's talk about a few fishing pole basics. The rod I have in my hand is the spin cast rod and reel combo, also known as the push button rod. These can be found throughout the state at our tackle owner locations. We also have the spinning reel and the bait casting reel. Those are great for more advanced techniques, but let's go over some of the basics with this rod. Here are a few parts. We'll start with the reel and the reel handle and the push button or release. You have the line that goes up the rod, through the line guides, all the way to the tip. At the end of this, I have a casting plug that you'll use as you practice your casting before you go out to the pond. Now, let's go outside and go over some basic casting techniques. To start your cast, depress and hold the release button. Take it back to 9 o'clock. Push forward to 2 and release. And always remember, practice makes perfect.
Welcome everybody, I'm Danielle Simmons with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Fishing in the natural state is a sport that can be enjoyed all year round, of every age and every background. Whether you're going to be fishing from in the water or from the land, it's something that you can utilize with your family so that you can get outdoors and have a great time. Fishing from the bank is a great way for beginning anglers to get their feet wet without actually having to get their feet wet. For those looking to cast their rods in the water while keeping their feet on land, the available areas to fish from can be a bit overwhelming. When looking at the available options of fishing areas you can choose from, pond fishing is a good one for bank fishermen to start with. These areas are typically privately owned, so make sure you have landowners' permission before you head out. The great advantage to pond fishing is that it's not fished by a ton of people, so the opportunity to catch fish is pretty high. The areas are great to drop a bobber down to fish for brim, such as sunfish, or to throw out a lure to reel in a largemouth bass. Bear in mind that even if the area is privately owned, a valid Arkansas fishing license is required if you are 16 years and older. If you're looking for a body of water with a larger area and more diverse fish population, bank fishing from a lake is a great option. Arkansas has several lakes all across the state. These areas can give you an opportunity to catch a variety of different species of fish. Your smaller fish species will hide in areas with cover, while larger predator fish will patrol those open waters looking for prey. There are two different methods of bank fishing. A lot of families prefer to bring their lawn chairs and sit out and wait for the fish to come to them. This method is great for families, but it does require a bit of patience. Other anglers prefer to move from area to area. They'll throw out for a little bit and work the area trying to catch anything, and then move to another spot. Regardless of how you decide to throw your line out, fishing in the natural state is a great opportunity for all of us to get outside and enjoy the great outdoors.
I'm often asked what's the best way to hold a fish to take it off the hook. Today we've got us a nice bluegill. Now a catfish will be a little bit different, but the biggest thing you want to watch for on all fish are these dorsal spines. You see, they're kind of pokey. What you want to do, hold the hook if you can, and you'll come in and pet down these spines. Now those spines aren't going anywhere, they're not going to be able to get you. You'll be able to now just grab your hook, pop it out, and you're ready to release your fish.
All right, guys, today we're going to do a little after the catch with our panfish. Now, this can be bluegill, crappie, red ear, any of the different smaller fish that you're going to catch. We're going to do a little scaling today. We're also going to show you how to do a fillet. First of all, we're going to pull these out. There's different types. There's commercial scalers like this that are available. There are also just a good old-fashioned kitchen spoon, which is actually what Alright guys, today we're going to do a little after the catch with our panfish. Now, this can be bluegill, crappie, red ear, any of the different smaller fish that you're going to catch. We're going to do a little scaling today. We're also going to show you how to do a fillet. First of all, we're going to pull these out. There's different types. There's commercial scalers like this that are available. There are also just a good old-fashioned kitchen spoon, which is actually what I prefer to use. You want to hold the fish down firmly and just gently start working the scales off of him. You want to work against the grain here. You push against the direction that the scales are going. So go from tail to head. And you'll just gradually work those off. Want to make sure and get all the scales off of there, because the people, when you start cooking the fish, they show up like a neon sign. If you did them, get them all. You don't want people giving you trouble about leaving scales on the fish. All right, that side is good. We're going to flip it over. We're going to do the other side. Watch out for the fins while you do this. If you go against a dorsal fin or some of the other fins, they do have some spines in there that can get you, so just be careful. Just gradually get all those worked off. And I kind of like to go in and take a little extra time and make sure I've got them all. All right. Now at this point, we take our knife and we're going to go in behind the fins. We're going to remove the head. Try and get as much of the meat as possible. And I like to go and take the knife and give it a little slit here. You take your spoon, again, remove your entrails. And then we're clean. We want to give this fish a really good rinse. Got a bucket down here. Give that fish a really good rinse. Check over one more time. Hey, I missed a scale right there. Just gonna get that one real quick. And now, all we're short is a little breading and some grease.
Hi, I'm Will Hafner with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission, educator for the Potlatch Conservation Education Center at Cooks Lake. And today we're going to talk about the basics that we need to get started for brim fishing. One thing I love about fishing for brim and other panfish is you don't need a whole lot of equipment to get started and to be successful. So let's get into it. First, we're going to want a rod and a reel. So the best setup for a great setup for bluegill fishing is an ultralight spinning rod and reel, about a 1000 series reel. Got it spooled with 6-pound line. Number 6 Aberdeen hook. 2 BB split shots. A slip cork, which is stopped by a bobber stop. This can be the string type or the rubber type. So that's really all you need for the rig and the rod and reel. Now, if you don't want to go to a spinning rod, a spin cast like you use for catfish would work just as good. But just remember, 8-pound or less line is all you really need for these small fish. But we're going to need a tackle box. we have just a simple tackle box here. We've got some extra floats, some split shot, our bobber stops, and a couple different types of hooks. And as you can see, there's not much in it because we don't need a whole lot of gear. But this is the same kind of tackle box that we'd use to keep up with our catfishing gear or some of our bass equipment. And we can keep it in a nice tackle bag like this. The boxes are interchangeable, so really all you need is one bag for all your different kinds of fishing. Now for hooks, I like Aberdeen hooks. They're light, they'll bend if you get hung up. For bluegill, you're gonna want sizes 6 and 8. For crappie, you'll go up to size 1 or 1/0. Now for bait, since we're mainly talking about brim, one of the best baits is red worms. Either red worms or crickets. You can buy the worms in the store, or you can dig them up in your yard. You're also going to want a way to keep your fish because most people go fishing for brim to take them home and eat them. So you're going to want a stringer. Just a nice simple stringer is all you need. And then also you're going to want a pair of pliers. Just some cheap 99-cent pliers from the hardware store is all you need. And really, that's it. That's the basics of what you need to get started brim fishing. Good luck!
Hey guys, we're glad to be back with you. I know that was quite a lot to take in at one time, but we're just really wanting to show everybody what we've got to offer at the Virtual Nature Center.
Or Mark wanted to show everyone what he had to offer, because I noticed that he plugged a little one of his bluegill cleaning videos in there.
Yeah, it was informational. It was informational.
That was great. Yeah, so you can peruse those videos on the Virtual Nature Center.
Right. Now, when I start thinking about that, and I start thinking about, talking to beginning anglers out there, what are your, like, say 3 go-to species for like new fish?
Brim, catfish, trout. Brim, crap. Yeah. I'm good with those. On that Virtual Nature Center, if they navigate around there, those are 3 species. We got every one of those videos when it comes to handling, cleaning, cooking, all those things are on that Virtual Nature Center. And we've got a bass series that's coming out soon that'll help you get outfitted for that and care and handling of those as well. So, I mean, that's something really good. And something really kind of interesting, you talk about those beginning species. I guess the reason why I thought about them is that's what we actually stock in our family and community fishing ponds.
Well, right. So that brings us to the next thing I was wanting to talk about. That's where we're going to go fishing. I mean, we've got our group. Yeah. We're starting working on our skills a little bit. So where are we going to go? I mean, we've got lots of different options. We live in one of the most fabulous states. Lori was talking about some of the options that are in our fishing guidebook.
Yeah, so you can actually find a list of those community ponds.
Right. They've got all of our family community ponds listed in the new guidebook. We've also got, lots of wildlife management areas that have ponds on them. There's plenty of public fishing piers at a lot of the lakes. So do a little research on our website and find you a place that's close and convenient for you, and then start working on putting your trip together. But when we're talking about family and community, I'm pretty well versed with the program, but probably the best person to go to is just go to the man himself. We've got a guy that works for Game and Fish. His name's Maurice Jackson. Maurice works really, really hard to make sure that we've got great fishing opportunities in our urban areas.
Maurice
right.
Jackson.
Oh, they did. I didn't think about that. They won an
yes.
award. But Maurice and Clint, man, they really have a great program, nationally recognized program from their award. And we're going to go to a short video with Maurice. That'll be the last of our videos. I know we've kind of bombarded you with that in the last few minutes, but that'll be our last video of the evening. And the rest of it's just going to be talking about a little bit more trip prep and some gear. So let's go to that video and listen to Mr. Jackson.
Award-winning family and community fishing program. I think the community fishing program coordinator. I actually manage nearly 50 locations around the state. The goal of the program is to provide a consistent supply of fish to areas of the state where the opportunity to go fishing is not as, it's not easy to go fishing versus being out in a rural area. So we appreciate you guys' support of the program. Now, of course, the program didn't start out with nearly 50 locations. We actually started out with 3 locations and actually started with trout. We stocked channel catfish during the warmer months of the year, and we try to do this at least 4 times a year during the spring and then as late as the fall. We're actually getting ready to stock our last stocking of catfish this month in parts of April. We'll take a break in October, then we'll switch to rainbow trout. Now, these are food-sized fish. We stock on total, both species combined it's over 150,000 fish. And so it's a great opportunity for people to get out and get exposed to this resource. Again, like JJ mentioned earlier, I'm standing here at Lake Valencia and it's a covered pier. A lot of our locations has restrooms. We got walking trails, amenities for the kids to do outside of fishing. If they get tired of fishing, they got playgrounds. It's a great resource here in the state. And I'm glad to be a part of it and glad to help and make the program what it is today.
Okay, we're back. Hey, there was good information there on that, on the family community fishing program. Like I said, there was other, different public fishing areas we were talking about. Lori, am I leaving anything out?
Well, I do just want to mention, the Whit Stevens Jr. Central Arkansas Nature Center will be having a family and community fishing program coming up next month, so look for that. But one of the quotes that Clint Coleman said about the family and community fishing program is that they've worked so hard to really take away the reasons why we can't go fish. So bringing things to you that you just wouldn't have. So I really love that. But it also does remind me of our fishing derby programs.
Oh yeah, it's one of our programs.
Which I think you know a lot about. That, did I? You might have left that out, but tell us about the fishing derbies because they're near and dear to my heart.
All right, guys, if you access the website, the list is getting posted for this year's derbies. There's well over 100, and we've got a lot of different opportunities there. A lot of times when you go to a derby, there's game and fish personnel there. If you need a little help getting some things going with your fishing, they're more than willing to help you out, along with some of our other derby sponsors. But it's a great opportunity to get out and really have some fun. A lot of the places they have these, they're fish stocked right before you go fishing every time. So you can't say they're not there. It's a good opportunity to get out there. I know that one of my sons, he caught one of his first fish at our hatchery derby at Hogan one year.
Yeah, and so that's on the AGFC website as well, the list of those. So, all right, so you've told me what we're fishing for, our brim, our catfish, where we're going to fish, but let's just talk a little bit about some of the gear really quickly.
Well, getting outfitted can be, especially if you're a new angler, it can be, walking into Bass Pro and looking at acres of fishing rods can be a little intimidating, and just the sheer expense of getting started if you have a large family can be something. So when I think about that, I think about our tackle loaner program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tackle loaner program, we've got, oh my gosh, we've got about 80 locations throughout the state. These are public libraries, state parks, and various other locations. Again, access that on the website. There's a list. It'll tell you by town where you can go, so you can find the nearest one to you. And if you go there, they've got these tackle kits that are available that come with the deal when you check out a rod. Almost all the sites have Catfish Pro available, and you're fishing. You get almost all of our locations have been upgraded to the zip code 33s that were recently redesigned. They're a very user-friendly rod. And 10-pound test, it's good enough to go catfishing, but small enough you can still catch some of your panfish with it. And it's just a great resource to have to get to go to that tackle loaner program. I know.
And again, this is a free program. You can find your locations on the website, but you could also probably ask some of your libraries. I know of most of my counties, their libraries, you can walk in. They have the fishing poles. You put your name down. It's a free, again, I like to say that, what we try to give to kind of our participants with the tackle and the bait. So,
Sure.
All right. So we do have to mention though, like we're not all fishing for catfish. And
Right.
so just give us really quickly. I know I always want to grab worms.
Right.
So
it depends on what we're fishing for. I mean, like when I think about worms, I think about two species. Like if we're catfishing, I mean, kind of any earthworms are good, but I kind of like if I'm fishing with worms, I kind of like to go pretty well exclusively red worms. If you go red worms early in the season, you got good potential of red ear, bluegill, and catfish are still going to hit them.
Okay.
I've even caught some bass on those. But when we're thinking about bluegill, which is the species that all of our videos are based on today, when we get to the end of May, like in that last week of May and that first week of June, you really want to transition over if you're fishing live bait and fish crickets. Because they're gonna change over. It's almost like shutting off a faucet. Some years they'll just stop hitting worms altogether.
So that's one of those things you can just pick up as well. And then
well, I mean, you know, and you don't have to go with like the Catfish Pro. Hey, on out there in some of our publications, we've even got a little catfish bait recipe where you can go with hot dogs and make your own catfish bait. You know, there's different things you can. Yeah, Kool-Aid. And there's other different baits, like if you're going to trout fish, a lot of people will fish with canned corn. They'll buy the little power eggs and whatnot. There's just a variety of different things when you go to a grocery store. If you're fishing for catfish, you might go chicken livers. There's just so many different things out there that you can try,
but that are simple
on these species, but are very simple and keep you in that live bait rig. Other gear you might need. You know, if we're going to go live bait, we might need if we're going minnows, so we're going to go like the crappie, bass, even catfish route with minnows. You can maybe pick up a small minnow bucket at the store. I mean, the styrofoam ones run you about $4. They're really not that bad. And then anytime you go fishing, I always recommend that you take a pair of pliers. When you transition into those crickets, make sure you get you a cricket cage. Sometimes they have the cardboard ones, or you can pick up a wire cage. And, you know, I always take a knife when I fish. I keep one in my tackle box, but I prefer this one. It's more of a multi-tool. You know, it's got a regular knife blade, but then we've got some clippers and some other things that are really handy as well. Or go with a full-out multi-tool. I like this. It's a lot easier to carry. But you know, we've showed you guys like the tackle box video earlier. I like the little soft-sided tackle boxes. They have multiple tackle boxes on the inside, so you maybe have one for different species. So that's my personal preference. I don't know how you roll it.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Keeping it simple and having that. I do want to also mention, and I don't believe we have a video on this for the Virtual Nature Center, but remembering like our weather, right?
Sure.
So safety and where we live in Arkansas. So one thing is our sunscreen is very important for our skin, our face.
Particularly early in the year. Yeah.
And what other spray?
Oh, hey, if you live in the hills, it's the chiggers. If you live near the swamp, it's the mosquitoes. Hey, guys, think about who you're taking out there in your crowd. I mean, just to, you know, yourself being comfortable, but we're talking about fishing with kids today. You got those little ones. Let's protect them best we can from those insects and give them a better experience.
And then a hat, we talked about this, very good for protection from the sun, but what else are we protecting here?
Oh, I might have pierced my hat with a lure once.
So maybe lure protection.
Another degree of protection for that.
Protects our face, keeps sweat off of us. And then don't forget your sunglasses.
Right. Anytime you're out on the water, you're going to have a lot more glare and things like that. Sunglasses are going to give you eye protection, not only for any tree limbs or any type of debris, or if someone possibly puts a lure airborne near you. But it's going to protect you. It's going to protect you from the harmful UV rays. It's just like the sunblock does for your skin. It's going to work for your eyes. So.
Yeah. And when I think about my experience when you're taking groups out to our ponds and we're bringing this experience, remember bringing that positive vibe. So having them protected. I brought my inhaler and my chapstick just because you got to remember if you have some sort of need an EpiPen or something like that. But we don't have a video on this, but I really want to discuss the importance of, and I don't know if you know what I'm about to bring up, but this is we talked about all these basics, and when we think about this positive experience, I think about my family, and what I was missing was food.
Oh yeah.
And so snacks and water and a chair. And
Sure.
so I just do want to bring up, when you go fishing, it's you know, it's kind of a patience deal. But for me, I'm going to bring some beef jerky, all those special snacks I don't let the kids have, some Gatorades and some waters. It's super important for a comfort level, keeping that happiness, and then remember ending on a positive note.
Well, you also talked about that, you know, keeping everybody happy and the patience factor. You know, I got two boys. I got one that can stare at a bobber half the afternoon. I've got another one that's got 5 minutes in him, and he's reeling up, and he's just a lot more active. He's a high energy kid. So I think about a lot of times when I fish with him, I always bring an activity. You know, I've got one that likes to sit and we'll do whatever. And a lot of times if we have other kids around, it's good to have a soccer ball handy or something. So they're still doing the outdoor fun. They're getting that sunshine. They're getting a little bit of exercise, but not necessarily resorting to the electronic babysitter.
Unless you're watching the virtual nature center videos.
Okay. Well, yeah. They can learn while they're out there. I think that's great.
The point is, you know, the whole point of tonight, right, was just bringing that positive fishing experience to groups and your families. I'm so happy that you asked me to be here, but just talking about all of the resources that Arkansas Game and Fish Commission has available, and then actually being able to use those. So when I think about it, remember the AGFC app, because they can get their license on there and even their updated regulations.
Right. And when you get that, and you know, if everybody's carrying their phone with them these days, she's talking about getting a license, you can have that sucker right on your phone. Don't forget that. That way, it's not one more thing you have to remember. If that phone's in your pocket, you're good. They've also even got auto renewal now. So if you get yourself hooked up on the auto renewal, you always have a license. You know, that's a very positive thing. I actually got checked on the water one time when I was 17, and the wildlife officer looked me in the face. He goes, "You realize you can't fish tomorrow, right?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "But I bought this in August." Well, I bought a combination hunting and fishing license, and it ended in June 30th, and I just happened to be on the water June 30th. Was fortunate enough to get checked on June 30th, not July 1st.
And so now we can
now that would have, you know, now I'd have had myself on auto renew, and that wouldn't have been an issue. But had he not checked me that day, checked me the next day, I'd have got a citation. And not knowing I was violating anything.
Well, that is what I love. We've kind of made that an easy process.
Sure.
We can auto renew.
It's so much easier.
Get our license online or using the app.
Yeah.
You know, if you're like me and you don't initially have the skills, you can use our virtual nature center to go up and look how to fish these basic species. Oh gosh, there's so many videos. So and then we're bringing you stocked ponds. I think April's coming up, and we're going to be stocking catfish. And so we even tell you what we're stocking and when.
Right. So you can access that information on the website as well. It will tell you when the fish stockings are, whether you're talking about the catfish or the trout. Now we don't like they have the bluegill and largemouth bass in the majority of the family community ponds as well. We didn't talk about largemouth bass, but they are out there. Those are all catch and release out there, and we you know, the bluegill pretty well perpetuate themselves, so we don't do a whole lot of stocking there, but they do. I mean, those biologists work on those ponds just like they work on anything else. If they need a stocking, well, you know, the guys from Hogan or one of the other hatcheries will take care of that. So it's, you know, it's a wonderful resource that we have, those family community ponds, but
it's accessible.
I fish in them they're very accessible. I fish in them from time to time. I enjoy it.
All right, so I mean, we've covered everything, kind of this family fishing experience, small groups, large groups.
Right. We didn't talk, you know what we didn't talk about is fishing in the natural state. Okay. Our other program at ARE, which helps get anglers out there. Talking about this, I mean, right here at the tail end, at least we're getting it in, but that program is designed for school groups, 4-H groups. I know we've got
Kids,
some
adults, there's
right.
a curriculum.
Some of the libraries do it. They've got even some of the colleges do it, but they have a great curriculum of multiple different lessons to learn about fish. They talk about habitat. They talk about invasive species. You know, some of the state parks even have that program, as well as our tackle owner program. And it's something that's really starting to grow and get some steam. But you know, if you're one of these,
go to our website,
oh
right?
yeah,
and you can go to Fishing in the Natural State. And what I love is there's an application that talks about it, but you can sign up to be a Fishing in the Natural State kind of group,
right.
to where you would have the zip code 33s, the fishing
right.
poles,
You get 2 dozen of those
curriculum.
things.
So it's such a great program.
Well, and one of the things that, you know, if you're a teacher and you're wanting to get your kids more involved in the outdoors, you're an outdoor geared person, you just, hey, that's a good resource for you.
We've had a couple cities want to sign up, get kids after school outdoors. And so it doesn't just have to be like this kind of traditional kind of school group.
Right.
It could be your city.
Homeschool groups can do it as well.
School groups, yeah.
Sure.
So.
But you know, that was something I just completely kind of spaced off. I'm glad we got that in there. One of the things I guess we talked about weather. I mean, I think we've covered kind of all the basics. You know, the main thing is just try and find a way to make it a positive experience. Mm-hmm. You're not always going to catch fish. It's called fishing, not catching. And one of those things, that's one of the biggest things with my kids is just get out there and find a way to have fun.
Have fun. And then let them end it when they have fun, even if that's a couple minutes in. Maybe see if anyone has any questions or want to ask anything about some of the resources that we've talked about.
You guys, you can put those in the chat box, and they can give them to us, and we'll answer the best we can. We got other resources in this room, not just the 2 of us. So I bet somebody can help.
We have somebody asking about group trips that are offered and guided trips.
Yeah,
so that's the first question.
Okay, group trips. Like, do we do group trips at Game and Fish? Is that kind of the question?
So. Yeah.
So we have different programs that have some group trips. I know the Becoming an Outdoors Woman program does some group trips.
You'll really want to visit right now because they come from different centers, I believe.
Sure.
We have all of the COVID regulations. You would want to visit the AGFC website for sure to see those different personalized group trips. And then your individual nature centers. I know that those should be opening up soon, but right now.
Right. Some of your nature centers will put on some things like that, and that's going to be individual depending on which one.
Facebook for sure.
Facebook. Yeah, and follow Facebook, because when we have programs that come in there, and there's multiple different sites on Facebook. We have some that are even species specific for fish. If you're like a black bass. You want a largemouth bass fishers, black bass management team. They're updating on what they're out there doing.
But here in Central Arkansas, you have your Whit Stevens Jr. Central Arkansas Nature Center, but then you also have your AGFC Facebook, and then follow the events. We try to coordinate those together. So.
Right. They're asking about derbies and COVID. We know we put out the derby and COVID guidelines.
Yes. It depends on whether we're hosting a derby or who the derby sponsor is on exactly how the guidelines go down. Because a lot of those derbies are sponsored by community groups and different things like that. So those regulations are going to be very derby specific. It's hard to just nail that down and tell you a hard and fast way that those rules are going to happen.
So if it's a school, then the school follows their COVID regulations, is what we're saying.
So if you've got, whether it's your community center or whether your school, however their regulations are lined up, are going to be what you're going to be faced with. So
and in the future, if you have a school or an organization, again, you can go back on that website and fill out an application for future derbies for your area.
Right.
Okay. Tips for practice casting, especially with kids.
Okay, that can be fun.
Don't use hooks.
Look, I like to use lures with my kids, but I cut the hooks off. That way they're not just throwing a casting plug. They're throwing what they actually have. because the only way you take off is a hook. So it's a little bit more realistic, because sometimes you can't get that casting plug to match up to what you're actually throwing. So I try and keep it as real as possible.
And sometimes at the derbies, they utilize your backyard bass kind of game. So, and that has just like a small fish kind of lure that you put onto a fishing pole, and then you can cast it and try to get it into a bucket or something like that. So that's actually a really good idea. The backyard bass. And you can access that through some of our programs as well.
Yes, there's actually a video on backyard bass on the Virtual Nature Center.
It's a lot of fun.
And they show some different scenarios that go down that you can practice. I think some of their casting, some, you have to stand in like a hula hoop and you're casting to the different areas. For me, with my kids around the house, hey, it's who can get closer to this tree, who can do whatever. We typically will do it that way. Or if we're practicing, like if you're a bass fisherman, you practice your flipping or whatever, you can even take your bago game and make a new game out of it with your fishing rods. So it's, you know, just, it can, all that practice can be, it can be a lot of fun as well.
Are all nature centers the same?
No, all nature centers are so beautifully different.
She's the authority. I'm gonna let her handle this one.
So we have a nature center down in Pine Bluff, Delta Rivers Nature Center, which is more of a wetlands oriented nature center. We have 5 different ones. So we have Little Rock, Springdale is our newest one, and that's going to feature more of quail habitat restoration. Very good nature center for shooting sports. You have Fort Smith. And then we have Jonesboro, and then you have your education centers. And really those nature centers are highlighting the eco regions that they're found in, the species that are found there, and then different kind of issues that maybe that eco region is facing. And so I really do encourage everyone to try to visit those different centers.
Okay, we have a note here.
And they are on our Facebook page. They do have their own Facebook pages. And let me also mention that because of, your 1/8 of 1 cent, right? Because of our taxes, those nature centers are free for you to visit as well.
We got a note here. You can buy backyard bass on Amazon.
Yes.
And it's just search for it. Super fun backyard game. Practice casting.
Cool. That's good. Thank you for putting that link in there.
Another question I didn't hear asked was a lady talking about she was a beginning adult, wondering about beginning adult classes, and that she was a lady looking to get involved into the outdoors.
Okay. Well, if you're was that on? Okay. Do we want to fill that one? Okay. They said there's a lady that's asking about, getting involved in the outdoors. Well, fortunately, hey, there's a program for that. The Becoming an Outdoors Woman program. Some of us from the ARE come out. I know Lori's an instructor for the BOW program. She's been involved in it for several years.
We really want to encourage you to contact one of us, because I promise you, the people that work for Arkansas Game and Fish Commission really care about creating community. Another option to your Becoming an Outdoors Woman is the Women Outdoor Network, which are just Facebook pages in your region. If we don't have it, we can direct you to someone who does. So those are really good resources.
And all your same basic skills for fishing, it doesn't really matter. They're all going to be the same. But we're gonna, there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's some classes that the BOW offers. I was actually complaining today that I'd like to take, and I don't get to go.
Fly fishing, bat.
Yeah, we're doing fly fishing this year. We'll have a smallmouth bass fishing trip.
It's great.
I'll be teaching a class on outdoor knots. I know Lori's teaching an archery class and some
shooting.
Shotgun shooting. So there's a lot of different classes out there available for ladies.
Any more questions?
What's your favorite type of fish to catch?
Oh, I have a favorite.
Go ahead.
Okay.
You want to take it?
My favorite type of fish to catch is a bass, because the first one I ever caught was on a fly rod, which Bo actually from the Fishing in the Natural State helped me with some of my fly fishing. But and one of our commissioners, I've learned a little bit, but just feeling the tension on my fly rod, but then also it was the first time I ever used a bait casting rod. So That's my favorite.
I like to fish out of my kayak a lot, and I love small stream fishing. So yeah, I'd like to live closer to the Blue Ribbon smallmouth streams. I typically fish Buffalo River, Crooked Creek, fishing for smallmouth. That's my favorite. But it's hard to beat crappie and bluegill fishing too. So I mean, it's all good.
Does a catfish have 9 lives?
Boy, sometimes they seem like it.
No, it has one.
Just the one, but catfish can be very aggressive when they hit a rod, and they've broken a lot of lines. Yeah. So I mean, sometimes it does seem that way.
I lost my daughter's very first catfish getting off of there, so.
Maybe. And that's another thing, guys. If that experience happens, you got to find a way to flip that and make it positive. Yeah. It can't be a big deal because there's lots of fish out there. They're going to catch some more. And you kind of have to figure out the best way to react and kind of how that kiddo's viewed.
Yeah, catfishing on the river, that's I think what we learned the first 2 or 3 times we caught the catfish. It was more setting the hook. It was more we have it, we lost it. So it's just part of the process. Maybe they do have 9 lives.
It's easier to deal with a quick release maybe when you're an adult and you go, oh hey, I didn't even have to touch that one. But as a kid, it can be a heartbreaker if it's their first fish. So
any more? No.
No one wants to know anything else.
Well, I was super excited to be here with all of you, and even with Mark, I was happy to be here.
All right. I'm glad you're happy to come.
Thank you.
Guys, we do this video series every month, and it's always fun. It's always great to reach out and share a little bit about what we love with you guys. Next month, we've got one coming up. It's beginning bass fishing.
I wasn't even
with emphasis on beginning. But I'm sorry,
I wasn't even coached on that, and my favorite was bass. That was not set up. That's
well,
great.
it's going to be a very basic thing. We're going to start bass fishing. You can go out and do a little bank fishing and catch a few bass, all the way up to having a bass boat that costs more than my house. So we're going to start bare bones, and we're going to have a panel, I believe, of 4 or 5 bass anglers that are going to come in. They're going to talk about their favorite basic way to catch bass, and it's going to be a good overview for people who are just getting in and wanting to scratch the surface on bass fishing.
So don't forget to look for that on the Facebook page. Please, it really helps if you comment, and then share that, because there's other people who don't know about it. So please, when you register, share that link and let other people know.
That's good. I like that.
We've had somebody ask if we have any bass recipes. And on the Virtual Nature Center, there is bass on the half shell.
Bass on the half shell on the Virtual Nature Center. So you can find that. And I'm sure we'll have some more coming out probably with this bass series. So just be looking out for those. All right, y'all. Well, it was a pleasure. Remember, get out there, buy your licenses. Go fishing, have fun.
Thank you so much. Take those kids outside. Don't forget your seniors either. They may not even want to fish, but just to be a part of the experience would be great.
Yeah. And then
good family and friends.
Yeah. So I always say family, friends. I know I'm fishing more with my friends and my kids, but we look forward to seeing you out there catching fish, and we will see you next month to talk about bass.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks again from Arkansas Game and Fish Commission.